So I want to show you briefly how you can use the cloud on eNSP. So that you can use it when you are required to in any of the labs in future. Now, generally, the cloud is used to, as you can see, the cloud is used to enable us to create interfaces dynamically. So we can create several interfaces on the cloud and also manage the interface map. That is binding the interfaces to the physical adapter, as I'm going to show you just now. So in this particular example, I'm just going to use a single cloud. So cloud one. Then to explain it, I'm going to use two PCs at first. I'm going to add another one in a few minutes. So these particular PCs are going to be connected via the cloud. They're going to be connected via the cloud. Now, I just want to configure this PC with the address 192.168, maybe .1.1/24. Then also configure PC2 here with 192.168.1.2/24. Okay, so let me just configure them with the IP address 192.168.1.1/5.255. Then I click apply. I do the same to this one. 192.168.1.2.255.255.255. Okay. So now, if I double click on the cloud, I can see that here on the binding information, I can create what we call UDP ports. So here we do not have any other option. But when it comes to the port type, I can create an Ethernet interface, gigabit Ethernet, serial, POS, E1, ATM, etc. So right now, let me just choose Ethernet because the PCs also have an Ethernet port. So you simply choose that. Then we don't want to create a public port. With the cloud, you can actually create a public port that can connect you to the internet, and you'll have to assign it an IPv, a public address that is similar to the address on the interface of your computer. But right now we don't want to do that, so we just leave this area unchecked. We select Ethernet here, then click add. So far we've created a single Ethernet port on the cloud. Let me even delete it so that you can see. If I minimize this, if I come to connections here, I choose copper, I select PC1 Ethernet 00. You see, the cloud does not have any interface in the beginning. So that's why we need to create interfaces on the cloud. So Ethernet add. So now, if I come here, I can see that we have Ethernet 001. So you can create an interface like that. So it almost operates like a switch, only that now you have to map interfaces. You have to map interfaces, as you're going to see in a short while. So let's also create a second interface for PC2. So we simply click add here. And now we have port number 1, port number 2. Now let's connect PC2 to the cloud. So 001 to that one. So as it is right now, we've connected PC1 and PC2 via the cloud, but they cannot communicate until we map these two physical interfaces that are on the cloud. So if I come here to the command prompt on PC1 and I ping 192.168.1.2, if I ping PC2, it's going to tell me the destination host is unreachable. Reason being, we need, on the cloud, we need to map these two interfaces. We need to map them. How we map them is, I'm going to show you. So you need to map them in this direction and in this direction. If we have done a topic called frame relay, we would have talked about what we call virtual circuits. So it's like we are creating virtual circuits over the internet. So the cloud is a symbol for the internet. So if I double click on the cloud, on this second part here, so the first part is port building. The second part here is port map setting. So here we can map the ports. First of all, you select the port type, ours is Ethernet, then the port number. So we want to map port 1 to port 2. So the local port number is 1, the remote port is 2. If we try, for example, 1.1, if I click add, you can see it says ports can't be the same. So I'm supposed to map it to a different port on the remote end. So the remote end is, I'm mapping it to port 2. So I can click add. If I click two-way channel, it's going to create two mappings here. It's going to create two mappings here. But if I don't click it, it's just going to create a single mapping between the local port 1 and the remote port 2. So in order for us to get the feedback, we've just created one way. So in order for us to get the response from 2 to 1, we also need to choose the local port as 2 and map it to 1, like that. So from 2 to 1. So add, like that. So now we have the mapping from 1 to 2 and from 2 to 1, like that. So once we have that, if I close that, we should now be able to ping PC2. We should now be able to ping PC2. Okay. So let's, for example, add a third PC. So we add a third PC. We assign it 192.168.1.3/24. Okay. So we have to create another port on the cloud. So I double click it, Ethernet, it is, then add. So now I have port 3. Now, in order for PC1 to communicate with this particular PC3, I have to create the mapping here. So local port number from 1 to 3. And I can click two-way channel so that it can add two mappings from 1 to 3 and from 3 to 1. So if I click two-way channel, add, then now I have the two. I have the two mapping, 1 to 3 and 3 to 1. So if I ping, let me first connect PC3 to that interface on the cloud. So we've created interface 3 like that. So now if I ping PC3, so .3 from PC1, I should be able to ping it. Should be able to get a reply because I've created the mapping. But if I ping PC3 from PC2, ping 192.168.1.3, destination host unreachable, because on the cloud, I have not created a mapping between 2 and 3. To do that, I can come here on the local port, choose 3, ensure that two-way channel is checked so that both of the mappings can be created for us. Then I click add. So now that we have 2 to 3 and 3 to 2, we can be able to ping. We can be able now to ping PC3 from PC2. So generally speaking, that's why I've been using a switch, because with a switch, you don't need to go through the hassle of configuring the mapping. And again, it still gives you enough ports that you should use in any of the topologies that we've seen so far. But if you think you want to use the cloud, you can always use it. One thing you need to know again with the cloud, other than the mapping, you don't need to assign the interfaces any addresses. So instead of going through that hassle, you can simply use a switch, which you'll not need to configure in anyhow. So that explains why I've been using a switch in place of a cloud all the time. So that is it about the cloud. I hope you've learned something new. Anyone with a question? Kipto, are you satisfied?
Very satisfied.
Asante sana. Okay, thank you very much, guys.